Hey, Cmax here. Going to do a video on how to use the lead dippers. Um, I had purchased these when I first got into the reloading. I thought that they may come in handy in some different situations, but I've never had to use them. Um, we measure powder out. Basically, there's two ways: by weight, by grains, metering it out, and then weighing it. Or volume, which is not done near as much. Mostly it's all done by weight. But the lead dippers do it by volume. Now what you get here is a set. I think I paid $9 for this. I've had it a while though, something like that. And let me open it up here. Everything's still on camera. Yeah. All right, basically they're a bunch of small scoops, and they're all, you can see, 3 cc capacity up to 4.3. You also get this slide card. So what I normally do, let me back up for this is for people just getting into reloading. What I normally would do is I'd have all the cases ready in a tray for powder. What I would have done is I would have set this with the scale here to where it metered out 4.3 grains or whatever it is. Then I would individually charge every case on here and then load the tray. But what I'm doing right now is I'm doing Remington 7mm Magnum. A lot more powder. You're not loading as many cartridges. For any of this, I hand weigh everything. So what I'm going to do for what I'm going to use this for, instead, what I'll do if I'm doing a mass quantity is I'll get this one close, put it in the scale, and then I'll use the Trickler to get it exactly right and hand weigh everything. But with 7mm Remington mag, I'm not doing 4 grains, 5 grains. I'm doing 62. So that's a heck of a lot. So I'm not, for these few units, high power, high amount of powder, I am only just straight weighing in. So I'm going to use, I thought this is a perfect time to use the lead dippers. It's going to be the most efficient way for me to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dump Reloader 22 as a powder I'm going to use, and I'm going to dump it out into a container. And then I'm going to scoop out of the container, make each load, and then go that route. But you get this slide card here, and it's pretty cool. Let's see. There it is, Reloader 22. Let's see if I can get some light on it. And it tells you for each of the different size spoons what it'll yield. So, for example, the 4.3, if you can see that, should yield 61.7 grains of Reloader 22 powder. So if I use this big scoop here, and you may recognize these because one will come in a set of lead eyes, one that's, I guess, appropriate for basically that caliber. I've never really had to use them though. So what I'll do is I'll dip it in, scoop this up, put it in the pan of the scale, and that's going to get me close, and then I trickle it up to exactly the correct amount with the powder trickler. And I'll probably do a separate video on that, because if you don't have one of those, there's kind of an easy way to do it, and I'll show you all that, but that's another video. So what we're going to do is we're going to get close with the dipper, top it off with the trickler, and then charge each load. So I'm going to cut away, let me get some powder together and get ready to do that, and I'll show you that. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bunch of the Reloader 22, which is supposed to be an excellent choice for 7mm, so, and 300 Winchester mag. So that's what we're going to use. Lots of data for it under this caliber, so this really seems to be a good choice based on all the research I have. All right, so put in a good bit because we're not loading pistol calibers anymore. And it takes a bunch of this. 66 grains is a lot. I mean, that's, what, 11 times what I normally load into a pistol round? That's a lot. So, I forgot need to load the Trickler as well. Let's get that all loaded up. All right, so we're going to put the Trickler back up here next to the pan. Now I've already preset the scale and it's set at 62. So we're doing 62 grains of Reloader 22. Get in the habit of always writing down what you're doing with different groups. You're going to see little pieces of paper on everything. It's easy to forget, trust me. So recommend you write it down, put them in bags, separate them, and keep them together. You want them kept together and separated as much as possible. Now, it seems to be a contradiction in terms, but you'll see as you get into this what I mean by separated and together. They're separated as where they at, or, you know, these are different brand case and these are. You just run into all kind of different things, so that's what I mean. You keep them separated, but you keep them together as well. So, put that one in a bag, that one in a bag, both of those in a bag. So that's keeping them separate but together. For what that's worth. Okie dokie. So now we are ready. So what we're going to do, there's several ways they say to fill it up. Stick it in, back it in, let it fill on its own, and then make it level. So let's put this in, and we should be pretty close. It looks like it wanted to move there. Yeah, it did move a little bit. It's not on the very bottom. So we're about 4 grains light, according to this. Let's see. Take me a second for this to charge up the tunnel. But this is really cool because I can operate it one hand and put one piece of powder in at a time if I want. So I'll watch the scale on the, and just keep twisting it and watch it come up and up as it approaches 0. Then as I get close, I can put one piece at a time until I get exactly where I want it. And there it is, exactly what I want. All right, and then take that cartridge. And normally I would have it in a tray or something to give the cartridge some stability and not let it fall over. But for filming, I'm doing it this way. Always make sure these things can like get bottled up in here, and then you pull the funnel off and powder goes everywhere. So I always like to tap everything just to get any kind of few pieces that might be hanging out. So this one is fully charged. So I'm going to put it here. Now, there's a couple of different ways to do this. You know, some people will take that charged cartridge, go ahead and put it in the press and finish that cartridge and be done with it. Or I could go through and go ahead and fill all of these and do all of those on the press at the same time. Really doesn't matter as long as you're consistent. I'm going to fill all these up, then go over there. That way I'm consistent on everything that I'm doing. But it really doesn't matter, and all that comes with experience on which way you want to do it. But lead dippers, very cool. With a little bit of experimentation. You know, everybody's always talking about bugging out and prepping and all that stuff. Well, you want to bug out, you still want to reload. Instead of these lead dippers, with a little bit of experimenting, you could figure out what is close to your favorite load for whatever caliber, write it down, and that's going to take the place of scales and everything else, powder dispensers and scales, and you just dip it out and put it in there, and you know that'll work. So for $10, it's not a bad deal to have, and it's really handy for the larger calibers. All right, that's going to wrap it up. Remember, all the safety rules: keep your finger off the trigger to be ready to fire. Always know where your muzzle's pointed. Every gun is always loaded. Like and subscribe and share. Thanks a lot, and have a great day.